Another big old VCR. This time we got a National NV-8610. And this is probably the oldest VHS machine I have, probably. Let's take a look at it. Let's have a look at the features of this. It's got a nice badge on it. Yes, in the old days they did things proper. It's got a nice big chunky power switch. Moist, there's power indicator. Oh, there's another switch on the rear apparently. Okay, we'll look at that soon. There's a tracking control. Piano key, mechanical transport controls. They're mostly locked out until there's a tape in here. Look at the really nice soft eject it has. Make sure it doesn't damage the tape. Be very careful with that. I guess something is a bit dried out in there, so it's not as soft as it used to be. There's the tuner control, and if you open that up, there's the thing for setting the channels. And then down here there's a still advanced control, so it can jump when it's paused. Microphone input, and then there's an input selection, line or camera input, the tuner or the TV connector. It's got a TV connector on it, like old good stuff has. There's a mechanical tape counter with a memory. There's then the TV VTR selector switch, which switches between the aerial connection passing through and the RF modulator inserting the video signal onto the RF. And that's got an interesting thing which rolls around to show whether it's TV or VTR. Interesting. On the top here there's the clock, and then under here the controls for the clock, setting the clock, programming the timed recording, and then sticking it into time record mode. All the modern features on this old thing. Let's have a look at the back. The connector layout is pretty interesting. At the top edge it's got camera audio in, a little cover and remote pause. Then it's got the audio out, another remote, and then there's the color black and white auto test signal thing. Then we've got the TV connector, RF. Then there's the video in and out, so quite a long way from the audio in and out, so your cable has to stretch apart if it's a combined type. Then over here is the RF modulator, which is interestingly socketed. 9 volts. Video audio in, and then the RF out on the edge connector. Then below that is the power switch that was mentioned before. It's the same type of switch again. Alright, let's switch this thing on and see if it works. I'm pretty sure it's definitely worked before for me, but it's getting old now, so I don't know if it still works. We'll find out. Should we take it apart a bit before we turn it on? Maybe that will be a good idea, just so that we can see it, hear it turning on. I don't know if those are captive screws. They might be. Oh, that one's not. I think just this top panel can come off. There's some screws down here next to the controls. Oh, that one just wasn't unscrewed the whole way. They're very long screws for what they're doing. Oh, yeah, the tracking control has to come out. Look at that. Good old stuff. Let's probably take this door bit off so that we can look in there properly. That's the capstan flywheel and belt driven. I think this is old enough, definitely old enough that it will have a light bulb that lights up the inside of the tape for the end sensors. Oh, maybe it needs that to hold the tape down. So it ejects by those rollers going out. Yes, there's a light bulb there, so that's a common fault. The light blows and then won't work anymore because it can't tell when the ends of the tape are reached. Well, that means it should work, shouldn't it? Because it just always thinks there's tape. Ah, look at that. That is that RF modulator selector switch thing. It goes into an actual RF switch with coaxes coming out of it and a long range actuator. Alright, let's switch this on, see what happens. The clock lights. That comes on. Ah. What was eject? This was eject. What, can I only eject when the power's off? We ruined it now. Maybe it needs to have the top bit on. Oh, I think so. I think those things go into there. I was hoping this would help us see it. Anyway, I'll try and find a tape. Well, I will find a tape and then we can try this out. Perhaps we should start off with one of these empty tapes just to make sure it's all in good condition. Fast forwarding. Rewinding. Nope. Playing. Alright, it's got take up. I think it's got back tension. The problem is it won't wind the tape back in because that isn't moving for some reason. Why would that be? Yeah, this is all in the way. Some kind of roller issue maybe? Yeah, back tension belt has fallen off. Band. I guess what we can do is once it's unthreaded we can just fast forward to get the tape back into it. Because yeah, whatever's happened is that. Pause? Is that supposed to latch in? Don't know. The clock flashes quite fast. Yeah, it's not flashing now. Alright, let's chuck a tape in there and get the video signal hooked up and we'll see what it does. Then we'll take it apart a bit more and see what's going on inside. Video output cable connected. Put on that video thing. Oh, we're gonna have to hold this down. Oh, look at that. Works fine. That's unusual, isn't it? The oldest machine here, oldest VHS machine works fine, doesn't have any problems. We don't have to clean anything or adjust anything, it just works. That's quite amazing. Although it's might be holding this in the wrong position and the tape's getting a bit crossified. You see it doesn't thread pull the tape back in. Yeah, so it does have a problem. For some reason the rewind doesn't work. Everything else seems to be okay. Does it pause? Yes. Does the advance work? Oh, look at that. Each time you push the button, it makes one advance. It's not a continuous thing. It's not quite as bad on my monitor. It's kind of... it's not a nice picture that it's not halfway through like what's happening on the capture. It doesn't always latch in. So it's not flawless, but the picture is pretty good considering its age and lack of any maintenance. Not sure how we work out what's not happening to rewind it there, since I can't really see. Look down there while it's in rewind mode. How can we make it think there's a tape in to work out where it's sensing that? Seems to know. I guess it's to do with end sensors. Yeah, it is. Okay, so if they're blocked, it will then go into fast forward mode. And I can see a wheel spinning there. So this is up and we rewind it. Okay, so all we have to do is block that end sensor. Idler wheel is not moving over the roller. Guess we can undo these red screws and that will remove... I think that will let you flip up the cassette mechanism and get it out of the way. Let's just try it. Oh, it lets you take the whole thing out. Oops. Yeah, I thought that because of that, I thought that was something to do with these, but it's not. It's just the cassette loading mechanism. Alright, so if we hold that... Nope. Needs more... Whatever went doing... Oh, it was just that thing down there. Guess that needs... Suppose we just put some blue tack over it. Or white tack. Some kind of stuff. And we'll forget about those and they'll get stuck in there. So you can see it going to fast forward. There's that intermediate roller thing and that one there which seems to come off of this. But for rewind, it doesn't move over that way, which I guess it's supposed to. Although it doesn't seem to move at all. Oh, I see. There's a tiny little belt there. Tiny little belt there coming off that, and there's another little wheel under there. That's supposed to... Oh, it's being... No. It's being held away from the roller. Yes, it's engaged with it now. When we put it into rewind, it gets pulled away. So is that caused by something being damaged, or is it because it's supposed to be driven in a different way when it's in rewind mode? You see the take-up's done by this one over here. There's no cue and review. Oh, it tells you there, unscrew the 4 red screws and remove the cassette compartment and the cassette guide. Did that, the 4 red screws. Okay, so rewind if you hold it down just lightly. I wonder if we can get this in here without any of that stuff. And it's not enough, is it? Too slippy. Works without needing any of that. Without the cassette mechanism. Yeah, so you can get it to wind a little bit, but it has no torque behind it because that belt's too slippy. Is that light bulb just on all the time? Guess so. So that will burn out quick, won't it? Presumably they undervolt it a bit so that the bulb lasts longer. I still don't understand though, why does that get pulled away so that's not attached to anything when it's in rewind mode? That doesn't seem to have any ability to move to either side. Don't know if that thing there is not doing the right thing. Not sure. I never tried looking up a service manual for this. Oh, it has a hall sensor and a magnet. See that magnet there? And there's a little hall sensor on that board. So it must be able to tell. Is that so it can tell it's stuck? Or is that just something to do with the tape counter? Tape counter's manual, like mechanical though. That's the thing that's squeaking. Maybe it's supposed to click into a different mode when you've fully depressed the rewind. I don't know. Perhaps we should try taking the sides and or bottom off of this thing and taking a look at it from the other side and see if there is any other business in there to make the mechanism work. This is ring gear. You can see it down there for the loading and unloading. So instead of the more modern type where it's 2 wheels and then they have an arm coming off of it that push those, it looks like it has a rotating ring in there. or its curved arms. Alright, let's try taking this apart more and switch that off. Now it looks like the side panels come off, but I'm not sure if that reveals much. Nope, it's just metal stuff. Wow, a bracket, and then you can see where the power supply is. I'm guessing this will be similar. I think we have to tip it upside down and take the bottom off if we want to get in any further. A little bit of a hassle. Hopefully it can sit upside down. It's pretty heavy. It's not as heavy as that cartridge recorder though. That was very heavy. It's just metal and spider webs. Oh, what you can see in there is the linkage thing that goes for the TV VTR switch. And there's some boards in there. Oh, there's also a bunch of red screws. So it looks like you can take the front off. And there's boards in the front. More boards in there. Alright, we'll look in the bottom first. All kinds of dust and crust is going to fall out of it, isn't it, when it gets tipped up? Caution, do not remove cover. Alright. Presumably this will still record properly as well. Why is it in perfect order still, even when other things of similar age and also newer things are just completely wrecked now? Surely it's on its way out. We'll have to look for some capacitor leakage. I'll try and get this video done fairly quickly since the previous one was delayed by almost a week than I wanted because of reasons. More super long screws that do not need to be so long. It's only screwing through a very thin panel, but they've used long screws. Presumably those are the originals. Oh, look at that. Lots of good stuff in here. And it looks like they fold out too. There's a hinge thing there and another one here. And presumably by undoing this row of screws, it will release it and we can take a look. Or do you just undo that? Maybe. Not sure. Sure that washer doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, I don't know, do I need to undo that one? Yes, that was important. Probably need to undo that. Yes, and that. Okay, let's see. Oh, look at that. Wow. Pretty empty mechanism on the bottom, isn't it? It's really different to the more modern things. Is there a way of propping these open without ruining anything? Head, cylinder head motor, loading motor. Oh, big motor. It goes on these gears. And then it's all on the other side. And then got this capstan driving motor, but that also drives everything. Well, the reels as well. It's got a flat belt, drives this flywheel for capstan, and it's got this long square belt which then goes here to that first pulley thing on the other side, and it's got a takeoff from that, the pulley there, which takes the drive over to this. There's some multi-way clutch thing, and then there's another little roller that runs on the capstan flywheel, and that brings more drive over to there. I think that's... is it more than one thing? Or was it a clutch type thing? Was it concentric shafts that are driven at different speeds? Don't know. Quite an interesting arrangement. And then there's one switch there. It's pushed by something when it goes into a particular mode. We have rewind, fast forward, play. So when it goes into play mode, pushes that switch. So it looks like that's the tuner board, since the NRF thing goes into it. It's an assumption. It's got some cans with stuff in them. Then looks like this here would be video processing. It's got a delay line on that board. So yeah, that looks like video stuff there. And that as well, another delay line. So it means these bits on this side, these must be the servo, system control servo. Oh look, there's switches there. Ah yes, look, and those get pushed by these levers here. So when it's going into different modes, those must move. There you go, it's when it goes into record modes, those move. Okay, so the default position of these switches is play, and when you put it into record, they get pushed. So it changes things around to the record mode. Look at the legs of the caps there. They're starting to corrode. So it'll be on its way out, but it's still okay generally at the moment. There might be audio stuff on this board. And yeah, under the front panel there is another board there. That's probably more system control stuff. If you look at the cylinder, head cylinder motor wires, looks like they go up to here. So this board here must have the motor drivers on it. That there, is that the transistors that drive it? Probably. And that might be control IC for that. And it just looks like that servo stuff. There must be some speed sensing on this. Somewhere there'll be something related to that, so that they can run at the right speed. Maybe it's done by the control head. And there's usually something else. The flywheel probably has a little magnetic thing in it, and then a pickup. That's often how that works. Similar to this, you can see there's a little magnetic thing in the side of that, and then there's a coil there which will be able to sense when that comes past. Alright, let's put this back. I think these were red screws, but they're now gone. The red has faded off of them. See, there's red down on the thread part, clinging on to what little bit of red the screw has left. What an interesting old machine. Still so surprised that that works. Still working. So many newer ones are dead. All the caps are leaked and wrecked. And these old ones, back when capacitors were made good quality, I guess, probably because they weren't trying to minimize them, miniaturize them as much as they were in the newer, or more, yeah, in the more recent designs. Miniaturization. Just put this bottom cover back on. Might as well. Alright, this is going to get tipped back up. We'll just try it out one more time, just make sure it's all still good. That's a spring return switch for setting the clock. Oh, it also is for setting the program. Program the on time, Tuesday at 1, and then the off time at 2. Ready for timer recording. Just like that. Fast forward's still good. Rewind is still weird, and I don't know why. It seems like a mechanical thing that's not letting that roller touch it, and yeah, yes, not letting that roller touch it, and also that the belt's slipping. So that seems to be all good. The pause is still a bit ropey. No, there isn't any sensing on there. It might have some sort of encoder thing in as part of the motor. Oh yeah, gotta have that pushed down far enough, otherwise it will start chewing the tape a bit. Oh yeah, we've still got the end sensors blocked. I guess we should pull off that stuff to unblock those. Otherwise we could have troubles later on. What a great machine. As long as you remember to do that before ejecting the tape, everything will be good. I don't know what the exact date of it is. It's probably a very early 80s or a 70s model, late 70s. Alright, we'll put back in this loading mechanism. Now, where are the screw holes for that? There we go. Because that's got the alignment set. See, the alignment's been set and then glued in place by these screws, which are screwed through slots. And then you don't undo those again. Instead you do these ones, which have round holes only just big enough, so it means it will always end up in alignment when you put it back together. Which is a good system. Much easier for servicing when you don't have to realign parts when you put them back in. Let's put this thing back on so that it will load the tape properly. Excellent. Energetic eject. Great. Well, that's audio dub. Okay, so we're doing that then. I wonder if you can... Is that audio dub? That's audio dub, that's record. Okay, it's in... Ooh. Something get messed up there. Oh, it's because I didn't roll the tape away. Okay, so if you push record, you don't have to push play. So it's in record now. Guess we can look back and see if it blanked the tape in that area. Ah, except we can't rewind, so okay, we can't do that. Anyway, that's the VCR. That's a pretty quick look at a National NV-8610 video cassette recorder. Piano key, top loading, good vintage stuff that works properly and has a nice eject. Yeah, and you gotta wind the tape in because for some reason it doesn't do that itself. Very good.